Uganda Eyenkya.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to this special interview. Of course, as I promised you early on, that I will be rubbing shoulders with Mr. Daniel Lubwama Kigozi. You know what I mean? Navio, Navio. Of course, I'm going to be actually having a few questions for him. Just you can stay tuned and we enjoy this interview. My name is Moses Wamala. Thanks for joining me even tonight. Good evening, good morning, wherever you are. You will be catching this interview. I do of course salute you and love you so much for actually following the show as always. Navio.
Let's not turn it into a concert.
So Navio, how are you doing?
I'm okay, man. This is the day, Corona has come. We're living in the era. I can't even say the time. It is an era of Corona, but I think we're going to overcome. Uganda is going to overcome.
Yeah, true.
And it's just a matter of time before we find a permanent solution. So yeah, I'm good, man. I'm hopeful. Let me say that. I'm hopeful. Yeah.
Okay. How have you been coping up with this situation, by the way?
It's been okay, simply because we were able to balance risk versus reward. We were able to take a bad situation and make it good. We were able to keep our promise to the fans, and that ended up paying off for us. So 25th April was the date that we had announced almost like 4 or 5 months ago, and it just happened to fall right in the middle of lockdown, right in the heart of and the freshness of the corona epidemic, and Uganda taking a stance against it. And now for a lot of other artists, they were shying away. A lot of sponsors were shying away from doing concerts or anything like that. So we did both. We did an album release and we did a concert same day, just to show people that they shouldn't fear. Just because this is happening, we shouldn't cower our heads and run in fear. Just live safely, be responsible, stay home as much as we could. We didn't even have rehearsals. Everyone was just in his own rehearsal space at his own home rehearsing. So the first time I actually saw them, you see them on camera, that's the first time I saw the band since the quarantine had started.
So should we say that Navio, is this the toughest challenge you've ever faced in life?
Not in life.
Corona.
We've had the rebels and the people chasing us through different countries.
So far, this is not the toughest.
This is definitely not the toughest.
Okay.
I think for the world, on the world stage, it definitely is.
Okay. But
thousands of people, who aren't self-employed, they're billions, let me say, working for other people. Millions, hundreds of millions of people losing their jobs. Hundreds of millions of dollars, being lost by countries daily. Each country is losing, every day an insurmountable amount. It's just, it's the worst period, that economically that we may go through, depending on how bad the disease gets here.
So what impact has COVID so far had on your career, or just you as an artist?
I think it would have had to have affected me more if I was fresher in the industry, or if I was ending. This is what you call a career ender. Yeah. What Corona is. So if you're just starting your career and you're making investments, imagine if you're a new artist, and I know this has happened to some new artists. They come out 2020 fresh, they go and do 4 or 5 videos costing $20,000 each, because they have banked on their career. They have trusted themselves, they've taken the risk. Now you've wasted $100,000 on music videos, and then you're not going to be doing shows to make that money back. It's a loss. It's a big loss for a lot of people, and that would have been the impact. But I've been in this 15 years. We've got other things that we do, that run alongside music, and also I'm on my 8th concert, my 8th launch as an artist myself, the 5th album. So I've kind of moved to a place where savings come into play, artists who've saved, and just because of my age also, we've saved a little bit, but there are people who are there and they've risked it all. They've used that savings at a time like this, and those are people who are suffering the most. And it really shouldn't be like that, because they're risking it for the fans, they're risking it for Uganda, they're risking it for us, so that we can have a bigger industry, a better industry, and they also do well for themselves. So I really feel pity for people who've been in a bad situation because of it.
So should we say that you had prepared yourself for disasters, or for such disasters, and were you ready perfectly?
I'd say I didn't prepare myself. I just was prepared by luck. Luck had really put me in a position where I could be able to stay afloat for a few months, and keep my family safe for a few months. But that's not the case for most of the Ugandans, most of the East Africans, most of the Africans. That's not the case. So it's a real shame. But on my side, I just let the fans know, yes, we have taken a loss, but we're alive, we're kicking, and we'll come back stronger.
So what lessons have you learned so far from the COVID pandemic?
One, luckily I was always a big hand washer. So all my friends, as growing up, and I mean this from like 6 years, 7 years old, they've always told me that I wash my hands too much. Since lockdown, none of them have made that complaint at all. they basically I've washed my hands enough now. Okay. So thank God I've always had that as a habit.
New practice to you.
Yeah, thank goodness. The masks, that's a new practice.
Okay.
Yeah, I have mine here. And of course, not being able to drive around. I come from a rally family, for crying out loud. So not being able to drive around, has been a big dampener. And especially when you have family and kids, you want to be able to get around and see everyone and visit places and getting to the farm. I don't always want to jump on my truck to go and see what's happening at the farm, because we are growing for Uganda, but these are the things that we have to endure to keep each other safe. So I'm 100% on board with whatever keeps people safe.
So how have you managed to keep your brand standing amidst even the pandemic?
I think the brand should be bigger than any one artist. Even when I pass away, that Navio logo, the wings, when people see it for the next 20 years, 30 years, I'm going to be the first thing that pops in their mind. People are going to recognize the logo because there's a brand involved there. People will recognize the music because there's a brand involved there. So I think your brand, is basically how you build it, will decide how bad it falls in any situation. It doesn't matter if you get into money troubles, whether you get into trouble with the law, whether you stop making hits. How you built your brand, how you built it up, is what protects you against the bad times. Yeah.
So speaking about your latest album, Strenghts in Numbers, which has 15 tracks. So brief me about it. What's so about that album?
Strength in Numbers was basically an album where we put together to show what happens when African artists come together, work together, especially East African artists. I feel like a lot of times we've been overlooked. Even though we had a spurt with the Congolese music that came in, and Ugandan artists 15 years ago were raged about on the continent, it's kind of receded. But I wanted to show and bring on some of the big guns from the continent on to the album, do songs with them to show that Uganda does have that level. We have that level of music. We can compete internationally. We can be a voice, for our people, and whatever level they're bringing it in, we can match that. So that was the idea behind Strength in Numbers, to basically see how we can collaborate, how we can hold our own, and the beauty that comes about, with making music from people for all over Africa, because Ugandan music should be continental. We shouldn't just keep it for ourselves. So I had Burna Boy on there, Shay Shay, Joe Makini, who's the biggest rapper in Tanzania, Vanessa MD, Calligraph Jones, who's the biggest rapper in Kenya right now. I had a whole slew of guys from King Saha, Flex the Paper, The Myth, and Daddy Andre on the album, and Lay Lizzy from Mozambique. So I had all of these guys come together to show people what level we're on. and the fact that we can hold our own as Ugandan acts, and just to make it a kick-ass album, and I think we achieved that with Strength in Numbers.
So, has it already sold out, or how is it actually like moving, like in terms of the sales? Is it like moving well?
Absolutely. I mean, I can't complain. For an album that shouldn't have done much, it's actually doing what it needs to do. We've sold close to like maybe 28K. Which for a middle of a pandemic is almost impossible to do. But we partnered with some border delivery services, which means that people were sitting at home, but they could receive the album at home on their doorstep, and we wrapped it in plastic to make sure it was corona proof. Just a few things just to really take care of our fan base, and I think people appreciated that. So yeah, the album's been moving like hotcakes. Okay. Yeah, and online it's doing pretty well as well. Yeah.
So speaking about like more of this album, how many albums? Because one like might ask how many albums have you produced so far, or do you have so far in your life?
I've done 5 albums so far. So Half the Legend, African Hustler Music, Pride, The Chosen, and now this last album, Strength in Numbers. So 5 albums personally, but remember I do have 3 albums with Clear Cut. Yeah, so we had Clear Cut to start with, K Squared, which is our second one, and K3, which is the album we recorded, and then the studio got jacked. So all the songs for K3 are somewhere in Uganda, because somebody stole the equipment. I wish they had just left a CD, because that was really a revolutionary album. So I always count it, because I'm like, we did record it and the music was there, so I always count it as a real album, though it never even came out to the people. Imagine. So yeah, I've done a lot of albums, but it's all about keeping fresh and understanding yourself. First album, Half the Legend, I'm only halfway to my dream. Okay. Second album, African Hustler Music, the music that I'm going to use to get to that platform. 3, what are the faults that will hold me back? Pride. I have my Ugandan pride. In any situation I go into, it can be good, it can be bad, I have the pride I need to sort out. 4, The Chosen. You're now chosen, you understand what your role is. I understood now what I had to do, to push, Ugandan music to the next level. And then this last album, Strength in Numbers, is now about looking outward and what we can do when we collaborate. Now that I know my role, I can now collaborate freely with people and build our music up throughout Africa. So yeah, man, it's been a logical progression to each project, man. I'm happy about that.
So what makes Strength in Numbers so different compared to other like albums you've released so far?
The amount of collabos, okay. I think the next album I'm gonna do just solo because I should be like, now also the strength of one. I might even just do that, but it just goes to show that working together brings about happiness. You know what I mean? Okay. Working together is always better. Getting to the end of a song or the end of a tour, when you're working with someone, it just pays off better. You know what I mean? You feel better about it. You're able to celebrate it with other people, and that's kind of what this album was about. Celebrating African art.
Okay, Navio, you're never news for bad reasons. You're never, and we've never had anything bad media or bad PR about you. How have you managed to keep that brand very strong without bad PR compared to other artists?
I think a lot of artists start fights. May I just finish them? No. No. I don't have time. If you're doing what you're doing, I think the clock is against us. The clock is against us. We don't have time. The way the economy is set up is against us. The way that some of our boards handle our music means that we're not collecting royalties and stuff like other acts in the globe. That's against us. You have a lot of competition, stiff competition with places that have populations of 200 million people, plus 40 in the diaspora. So you already have all of that to deal with as an artist. Then of course, slow online and expensive internet. Do you really have time to be going out there every weekend and fighting? I more than anyone understand fighting for your rights. And drawing a line. There has to be a line of respect between men, but I will never cross that boundary. With anyone in the building, I can never disrespect anyone, from the Askari to Ruparelia himself. For me, I'm the same OG with everyone. So it really makes it hard for people to start fights, but when they go out of their way to, as soon as someone makes it physical, then that's a different thing, and that is now their fault. They have started something, and now they must finish it. So I'm not really about that life, because there's no time. there's really, I feel like there is no time.
So you don't have time for that, for beef, for whatever?
Beef, bichi, all that, please. It's like, it's not on my level. Like, yeah, I don't have time for any of that.
Do you consider yourself as Africa's biggest and, like, what should I say, exceptional rapper on the continent?
I think on the continent, I'm definitely the most underrated rapper. And I'm not even underrated by the people, because I can walk in Tanzania. I'm maybe one of the only acts in Uganda, minus being hip-hop. I'm one of the only artists, singers, who can walk in Lagos, walk in Johannesburg, walk in Cairo, walk in Accra, walk in London, and be stopped and recognized. And not by Ugandans, by people who live in those places. I'm the only one. So for me, I definitely feel like I am underrated, and I definitely feel like I did put my best foot forward when it was just about the music. Now that it's moved to online numbers and bichi, and how many things did he push, how many units did he sell on Spotify? When you move it to that, that's a different discussion. But if you talk about pure music, what I did for the music and the culture, you know what I mean, everything from the one and only days jumping off cliffs in my videos, and putting really nice projects together, the albums, doing 8 concerts, back to back. They were either classy or well attended. You know what I mean? It's like my work speaks for itself. So I definitely think I'm underrated. And because it's all moved online now, half of Africa may never know. But I'm also okay with that. Okay. Because when you reach my age and you have the 60 awards and you have the tours, I've toured all over the world. All I need really is just the love of family and a plate of matoke once in a while, and I'll be alright.
Very good. Speaking of family, in this pandemic, how do you manage actually to align with your family, to be together? Do you get that time, Navio?
Man, it's a tricky one. Getting the family together. Of course, remember, we all have judges, and we all have mothers who are older, and aunties and everything who are older, or some have ailments, sicknesses, blood pressure. These are people who are all at risk. So you visiting them sometimes can put them in danger. But we make sure we use these digital platforms to the maximum. We make sure we're always talking online, and everything like that. And a nice little garden party or a garden sit down doesn't hurt. You know what I mean? But I do like to keep my distance, especially because I've been doing 1 or 2 shows here and a few appearances. So I like to kind of keep myself at a bit of a distance. When I'm not sure, what effect I'm going to have on the people around me, man. We need to protect family now. For now, we can make up those hugs later. For now, we need to protect family at all costs, and that's what I'm about.
Speaking of envisioning or visions and missions in life, do you see yourself as we speak right now? Have you made it in life already, or you still have a long way to go? And where do you want to see yourself after COVID? With my personality, even if I got $1 billion, I wouldn't say I've made it in life, and I wouldn't say I'm done. Even when I got 5 billion, I wouldn't say I'm done. I wouldn't say I've made it. And I think that's the reason that keeps me here, because one, I don't want to fail at what I'm doing. So I'm doing the most improbable thing that I could possibly do. I could do in politics tomorrow. I could go work for an aid company. Sorry, Navio, pardon me. You could do politics tomorrow.
Yeah, I could do farming, which I already do. We got Farm of the Year 2 years ago. So it's like whatever I do, I like to kind of excel and push. So now I'm glad maybe that I did music, because it's the most challenging thing to do. Hip-hop from Uganda is the most challenging thing to do. And I think it provided at least a platform where I'll forever be the underdog, which means I'm forever fighting, which means I'm forever pushing, for my beliefs that I'm pushing to get the culture further. And for me, that's that's a good position. That's honorable, than just choosing the easy way out. I'm choosing to live something that's a bit more true, closer to home, and something that I can look back and say, thank God I did that. Yes, Daddy's hair was this long. I went on stage and 60,000 people jumped up. It was crazy. I toured in Thailand. I had a whole bunch of Thai, 4,000 Thai people waving their hands in the air. For me, that is more worth it than saying, hey, I tried to do that now when I was 60 years old. I bought my studio and started rapping. I'd rather get that crazy stuff out the way now. So let's do it.
Okay, very good. Like speaking of COVID, there are things COVID has brought which are very, very weird. Could Navio, in case anything happens, can you body taxi in case private transport is virtually or completely banned in Uganda? Would you take a taxi? Would you body taxi?
Is that safe? If it is deemed as safe by the ministry that runs the country, if they call it and they tell us that it is the ways and the means that we can travel safely, I'd board anything. I started my hustle in the taxi. I started my hustle on the border. That's how I began. You know what I mean? So I can never hate on the taxis, or you know what I mean. That's where I'm from. That's where Clear Cut was born. The hustle, between Kampala Road, Rubaga, Kampala Road, Jinja Road, from Sinner Freak to Deviate. That's where the hustle was born. You know what I mean? For me, so the taxi is just home for me.
So speaking of, I know you've done quite a number of concerts, of course, local and international. Speak to me part of that concert which you believe that it strictly or strongly pushed you higher. What could that be?
Man, the first one, hip-hop act at that level, African hustler music, big. The third one, Nawudidanga, I think was the one, because we really pushed the envelope there. I think you can basically solely say that Navio and Steve Jean were responsible for changing the face of concerts out here. And even then, between me and Steve, we pushed each other to the limit. He was like, you do the whole show live band. I was like, hey, live band. I told him, you put a LED behind me. He's like, no, then we can't see you. We had our own arguments. But you see what people are doing now. Everyone has the LEDs behind them. Everyone does live band for the whole show. You know what I mean? Yeah, so I really believe me and Steve changed the way people did concerts. Changing in between concerts. Now you have guys jumping on their astronauts, in their astronauts uniforms, and one's dressed as a general, the other's dressed as a wow. We changed the way concerts are done with Nawudinanga, that's for sure.
COVID has changed everything. Speaking of concerts, we are now doing online concerts. How should we behave in post-COVID-19, by the way? Should we go in, with rhetoric? Should we move like this? Or?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. We've built up a new genre. We've built up a new way of doing things. I was the first one to have an online concert. An online album launch, I was the first. So I'll say for sure, we definitely need to be doing both. Even our live concerts need to be going online like this. I think hopefully this has opened our eyes to see that we were missing some digital migration. So no, there's some digital elements that we've been missing in our hustle, and this has forced us to use that. Because we're always banking that there's a show with 40,000 people on the weekend, I'm okay. But now this has forced us to do more. And I think that's a good thing.
So do you have any opportunities you've picked up from COVID so far? Any opportunities?
The only opportunity was really being able to drop my album at people's doorstep, which doesn't happen. And without any other distractions, which doesn't happen.
So dropping the albums, you yourself?
No.
Oh,
That should have been a real labor of love. 28,000 trips. So what? But no, we partnered with Border guys, and we were able to get the album to people. So that was a success. The launch itself was a success. The way that we shut down club beats and trended. It was a success.
I think
the way
it was
that me and Chameleon shut down that Saturday night TV show, success. The last virtual concert for Rahul, success. So I basically trended, I don't know how many times. I think I was in front of the newspaper.
I must say that I really loved
in front of Monitor the other day. Success.
The grand finale of Club Beats. That was massive, man.
Thank you.
Speaking of other online concerts, would you take would you say the Bobi Wine concert that was good? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me tell you, if you're out there, it never hurts to take a page from your friend's books. When I did my concert, I knew Chameleon was next. He's going to come in his way. I knew Bobi Wine was going to come in right after, because those are smart boys. Yeah? Smart men, let me say, respectfully. Those are smart men. When I did my music video the first time, with All I Wanna Know, Clear Cut, Chameleon followed me immediately, because he's a smart man. When I make moves, you know what I mean, it's better to just follow the leader, you know what I mean, and give it your own twist. You know what I mean, make it more legendary, make it bigger. Because we all know also Bebe Cool is going to just throw a whole bunch of money 2 months later and also make a big splash. So, you know what I mean, I'm always that guinea pig. And people rectify and redo what we do. But hip-hop is used to leading in that way. Hip-hop is used to.
So we should say authoritatively that you set the pace for
yes.
them. You set the trend and the pace for them.
Absolutely.
Okay, speaking of politics, just like briefly, your brother Bobi Wine, of course, remember the song you did release with him. Would you love to join politics as Navio anytime?
No politics for me.
Why not?
Because it's dangerous. No, thank you so much, man, for the interview, brother. Yeah, much appreciated. I hope. How are you doing in this COVID time?
I've treated actually COVID-19 with an iron
elbow. You mean?
Very good. So it's been nice having you, man.
Thank you.
I guess we shall have any other time in case God allows us.
Yes.
You're a big guest guy, otherwise. That's an acapella of only one song off your album.
Okay.
Strengths in Numbers.
Sanzebaji, nobody better than you. Sanzebaji, nobody hotter than you. For the first time it's you, my baby. Through the worst times it's you, my lady. Like church time, you pure, my baby. This EA, my 2-5, baby. 256. It's your boy Navio. Keep it locked, baby. Yeah.
Awesome. My name is Moses Famala. Till we catch up next time. See you then.
Uganda Eyenkya.